Hi everyone. Welcome to the very first video of the complete course on Python. In this video, we will cover the absolute essentials of Python, namely numbers and how to perform calculations on them. You will learn different numerical types which Python supports and common operators including addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. As you might be aware, Python is used extensively in numerical calculations and mathematical-related subjects. Due to this fact, understanding how to use numbers is critical in learning Python as a programming language. If you are familiar with MATLAB or other languages related to performing mathematical tasks, then you should have no difficulty understanding how numbers work in Python. If you are not, then don't worry. We'll cover them in this video, and after this, you will be a number master. The first thing that you need to know is that in Python, numbers take different forms. There are 4 types of numbers you can have, namely integers, long integers, floating point numbers, and complex numbers. Complex numbers are usually not used heavily in day-to-day programming. You will encounter them more in other scenarios, such as video games design. So it will not be discussed in detail here. Long integers are usually not used too often as well. It takes more storage space compared to normal integers, and it can have infinite precision. But for the most programming tasks that we are going to have in this video course, integers will suffice. As a result, we are not going to cover a lot about them in this video. Let's now focus on integers and floating point numbers. Under most circumstances, their definitions in Python are equivalent to their definitions in mathematics. Namely, integers refer to numbers without decimal points, while floating point numbers refer to the numbers with decimal points. You might be wondering, why is Boolean being categorized as an integer? For those who haven't heard the word Boolean before, Boolean indicates whether a certain expression is true or false. It only takes these 2 values. Then why on earth is Boolean included under integers? It turns out that in Python, the value 0 is equivalent to false, while other numerical values can be interpreted as true. In this part of the tutorial, we are going to learn several frequently used operators. Consider numbers as the building blocks, then operators are cement connecting numbers together. Operators can be generally divided into 2 types, binary, which means it operates between 2 numbers, and unary, which means it only has effects on a single number. We will demonstrate how these operators can be used by showing snips of Python scripts from next slide. Addition, subtraction, and multiplication in Python is similar to what we usually encounter in math. However, there are 2 points that are worth mentioning. First, in Python, if you add an integer to another integer, you get an integer back. Same for subtraction and multiplication. However, if one of the operands is a floating point number, Python will automatically output a floating point number for you. Division works a little bit different, which we will cover in the next section. Second, you can see in the second operations in multiplication that the unary operator negate take precedence over multiplication. As a matter of fact, unary operators under most circumstances take precedence over binary operators. However, when you are in doubt, putting parentheses is always a good thing to do. Now, let's talk about division. As you can see from the above table, different versions of Python handle division differently. In Python 2, dividing an integer number by another integer number will return the quotient, while omitting the remainder. However, in Python 3, dividing 2 integers will return a floating point value even without specifying it. In order to get solely the quotient as in Python 2, you need to put 2 division operators together. The remainder operations in 2 different versions are the same. Keep an eye on what versions of Python you are working with. Now we are going to talk about exponentiation and power operations. while the multiplication operator only requires one asterisk. The exponentiation operator requires two, similar to multiplication and division. Raising an integer to another integer power results in integer value, but the presence of at least one floating point operand will force Python to output the result as a floating point number. As it is in mathematics, 4 to the 1/2 power in Python is just taking square root of 4, and 2.0 to the power of -2 is calculating 2 to the power of 2 and then taking its inverse. Let's examine the last example more closely. As you can see, this is not a mathematical operator in the common sense. However, it is a built-in Python function provided by the language. In some words else, it is an existing function that you can use. Po is the shorthand for power. In Python, to use the power function, putting two numbers in the parentheses after po. The first number is a base, the number which you want to perform exponentiation on. And the second number is the exponent, which indicates to what power you want to raise the base to. Python actually offers a bunch of these functions to make our lives easier when we try to play with numbers. I will introduce two of the most used ones on the next slide. When you want to perform mathematical operations, sometimes you definitely want to have the absolute value of some numbers. Different from the rules in mathematics, which uses two vertical lines enclosing numerical values to represent absolute values. Python has a built-in function called abs to return the absolute value. You can just put the number which you want to process in the parentheses, and Python will do it for you. The rounding function in Python uses the same rounding rules used in mathematics. It is known otherwise as the half-adjusting rule. Although Python has other rounding function which adopts different rounding protocols, this is the one that is used the most frequently. This is the end of our first video in Python. I hope that you're enjoying our material. Follow us and there will be more to come. Thank you.